I have my audience of my sister and my mom and my animals around, so if you hear that. Okay, so. Hello, my name is Allison Yanishadis, and I interviewed Dr. Christy Law, who is a director of the Bachelor's of Social Work program here at Ambrose. So I'm going to share a personal story with myself about my educational background. I grew up going to an individual education programs during elementary and junior high, which means during those years I taught myself, and when I needed to ask questions, I did. Otherwise, I was kind of on my own, and everybody figured if I didn't ask a question, then I knew what I was doing. So I transferred those into my high school and college career. And I feel like that is very beneficial because it teaches you to be on your own and not to always rely on others, but that they're there if you need them. So now the main points that I'm going to be talking about is communication is key in the social work field, and it is also beneficial or harmful to a social worker. And then finally, I'm going to talk about the solutions if there is a miscommunication in the social work field. So for my first main point, communication is key in the social work field. According to Dr. Law, social work operates at multi-levels and communication is key at each one. If it is used incorrectly with clients and or the community, someone could easily get harmed or misunderstood. It's beneficial to talk to people like this so that you're not engaging in miscommunication, and you can be at a mutual understanding through that communication. So along with that, emotion also plays a role because the way you say things and the tone also goes along with the message. So if you have an unchecked bias, that can lead to a premature judgment of someone that you're not even realizing because no one checked that. You're not asking. Not that you're not asking, it's just you're not being told maybe. So that would lead to a premature judgment, and then you're only seeing things from one point of view. So you're not getting all sides of the argument, and so you could be mishearing things and different things are being left out. So like you don't know what's being said. That's why communication is so important, especially in the social work field, because you're dealing with so many people from different cultures that you need to understand them. So the solution to do that is to try to put yourself in other people's shoes while you're talking to them and while you're listening to them, but also realize how your actions are affecting them along with your tone and body language. So my second main point is communication can be beneficial and or harmful as a social worker. So according to Dr. Law, she is a policy advocate at the state level, meaning that her organization's information is used to support legislation that benefits low-income and working families in Iowa. So she uses these techniques to benefit those people who can't afford to pay for these things all the time because they are struggling with other things and they need to talk to and have somebody to talk to. So a social worker is an easy way to get that if you know your resources, which is why it's always beneficial to ask for your resources. So it's important to be clear on the urgency and deadlines associated with every task given as a social worker. Otherwise, that will lead to miscommunication on what's prioritized. So if you don't know what's prioritized, they don't know what's prioritized. That's why it's easier to just talk about it, but that's also easier said than done. So culture also affects people as well as a social worker because you're dealing with so many different people and you need to be able to put yourself in their shoes because it can be harmful if you don't, and it's beneficial if you do at the right times. The best way to do it is to not ask like any invasive questions. You want to ask it in a non-invasive way, curious way, so that you can they can feel like they have somebody to talk to. You want to get to know them on like a personal level without being invasive so that they feel comfortable to talk to you. My third main point is there's many solutions to help with the miscommunication, but Dr. Law mentioned the most beneficial one. So she suggested to start by identifying the issue, and then you want to try and figure out what went wrong. So if you can figure out what went wrong, you can commit to working with the group and prevent the situation from happening again. So in conclusion, communication affects every level of the social work field, which is why it's very important to be able to communicate effectively and understand everybody around you, because if not, serious repercussions could occur.